Some people believe that the Earth is flat and that the South Pole is the edge of the Earth, like the last wall. That's why they think entry to this continent is restricted. The South Pole has been getting a lot of attention lately. It was first discovered by James Cook in 1773, and it's the only home to emperor penguins. This continent belongs to nobody, and most human settlements in Antarctica are research stations. Contrary to popular belief, the surface of the South Pole isn't flat. It has tall mountains like Vinson Massif. Once a lush green land full of dinosaurs, Antarctica is now a huge frozen continent, even bigger than the United States. You can easily find it by going south until you reach the big icy area at the South Pole of our planet. It's within the Antarctic Circle and holds the largest mass of ice on Earth, even bigger than all of the US and Europe combined. After the discovery of this continent, it took scientists 20 more years to confirm it was entirely new, and a few more decades to decide on its name. Antarctica means the opposite of the North Pole, referring to its position at the opposite end of the Earth. Anyway, nowadays, we all know about this icy land at the South Pole because of where it's located. There are just 2 seasons there, summer and winter, and both last for 6 months. In summer, it's a bit warmer, and the continent experiences continuous daylight. In winter, it's dark all day long. 98% of Antarctica is covered in ice. This continent alone holds 60% of the planet's fresh water. Despite having so much water, Antarctica is the world's largest desert. Surprisingly, a desert is defined by its sparse vegetation and low precipitation, so having lots of sand isn't necessary. Although Antarctica does have some sand and sand dunes, it's mainly known for its icy landscapes. It's also incredibly windy there. In fact, Antarctica is the windiest continent on Earth. Wind speeds can reach up to 200 miles per hour, even faster than hurricane winds. The little snow that falls on the land never melts. Instead, it just keeps build up over many centuries and millennia. As a result, there's a very thick layers of ice in Antarctica, hiding many secrets underneath. There's a whole new world beneath its icy surface. For instance, there are numerous mountains on the continent that are around 9,000 feet tall. However, we can't see most of these mountains because they're hidden under the ice sheet, which is almost 16,000 feet thick. Down there, beneath over 11,000 feet of snow, there's also a lake called Lake Vostok. It's named after the Vostok Research Station, which is located above it. Over a century ago, a scientist came up with the idea that the immense pressure from tons of ice could lower the melting point of ice in the deepest layers of the ice sheet, creating liquid water that could form a lake. He didn't prove his theory during his lifetime, but later, scientists continued his work and confirmed that his idea was true. There's a mountain range that splits the continent into 2 parts, East Antarctica and West Antarctica. The western part of the continent is getting warmer and starting to melt. If West Antarctica melts and releases its stored water, it could raise the average global sea level by about 16 feet. This would be enough to make some cities around the world completely disappear. Among the first cities at risk of becoming submerged would be Bangkok, the capital of Thailand, which is only 5 feet above sea level. Then it would be Amsterdam in the Netherlands, followed by Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, Cardiff in the UK, and New Orleans in the US. Antarctica doesn't have any towns or cities where people live permanently. Because nobody owns Antarctica, nobody can call it home. But that doesn't mean it's completely empty. There are research stations set up by different countries. These stations are like small communities where scientists and support staff work and live for a while to study the continent and its environment. So, while Antarctica isn't a place for permanent living, it's still busy with scientists and researchers doing their work. The average yearly temperature in Antarctica is around 30 degrees centigrade. But believe it or not, there was a time when Antarctica was as warm as Melbourne, Australia is today. This was about 40 to 50 million years ago. Back then, Antarctica had green forests and dinosaurs roamed the land, enjoying the sun in temperatures as high as 63 degrees Fahrenheit. However, nowadays, Antarctica is so cold that you won't find any trees or bushes there, just snow. The only plants that can survive in such extreme cold are lichens, moss, and algae. Humans also can't handle such freezing conditions for long periods, so Antarctica has never had any native population. Well, unless we count penguins, seals, whales, and a few other types of birds that live there now. In Antarctica, there are no more than 5,000 people, but there's a bustling population of around 20 million penguins. These cute creatures are like the settlers of Antarctica, even though their ancestors originally lived in Australia and New Zealand. Some penguin species still hang out there, including the tiniest penguin on Earth, standing just 1 foot tall. Most penguins move to Antarctica because there's lots of food there, not because they like the cold. But when summer ends, most penguins say goodbye to Antarctica. Only the male emperor penguins stay behind to keep the eggs warm and safe until they hatch. But where do the other penguins go? That was a big mystery until scientists tagged a few of them with tiny location devices. Turns out they head to the southern oceans, where they swim around for about 6 months until it's time to return to Antarctica. When they come back, it's egg hatching season, and penguin families reunite. Penguins eat different kinds of fish for their meals. Even though some parts of the ocean can be really cold because of the salt, the penguins have a clever way to stay warm. They have special proteins in their bodies that act like antifreeze, so they don't freeze solid like fish popsicles. There are also around 1 million seals, and they love fish just like penguins do. They're incredible underwater athletes, able to hold their breath for up to 2 hours. Seals can see much better underwater than in the bright daylight. They use their whiskers to find food, and when they're away hunting, their breathing holes in the ice can freeze over. To get back to the surface, they have to use their teeth to make new holes. The Antarctic continent is one of the most fascinating places on Earth. This snowy, icy land, far from civilization, can be considered a mysterious and enchanting place, holding many beauties to share with enthusiasts. However, with the increasing growth of tourism and scientific interest in societies, Antarctica will continue to captivate and intrigue humans for generations to come. If you're considering a trip to the South Pole, you should know that it's possible. And recently, there's even a medical team to take care of you. Just like Mr. Beast, one of the most famous YouTubers in the world. But going there might require spending some money.